And we're back. Yeah, I originally thought about doing it all at once, guys, but I figured I'd actually split it into two or three parts. So let's get into part two. I showed now in the first part, which should be uploading by now, showed you guys the books that I found at the con. Once I got in the swag grab bag from the Harvey Awards and stuff, and I showed you guys the artwork that I collected. I showed you the artwork. So now, guys, I'm going to talk about the signed books, and I'm going to tell you some stories. Um, so this will be part two, and then the third and final part will be talking about the emotional journey and a lot of thank yous and stuff. So let's get into the signed books, and I'll tell you guys a lot of the funny stories from creators and whatnot. Very special. And some of these signed books I'm going to bring back for re-signings if people actually show up. But let me very gently and carefully pull these out. I'll start with this side first. Yeah, I'll start with this side first. Do it at sides, guys. This book I found, this is great. I'm going to have to I will read this a little bit later. I got to read some of it. But I found this actually when I was the same deal that I had actually found my Squadron Supreme and Women of Marvel deal. I found this. The funny part is, it's done by Dave Gibbons, who was actually there at the Baltimore Comic-Con. Now, what makes this sad, guys, is the fact that I tried to find my copy of Watchmen so I could actually get Dave Gibbons to sign it. And I felt bad because all I could get was like a picture with him. But I was okay with that. Then I found this, and Dave luckily didn't have too long a line. And I got this signed by him, and I had like an oh crap moment because he actually remembered who I was. And he goes, "Oh, so I gave you some flack and stuff, huh?" And I said, "It was all in good fun, Dave." I said, "I didn't take it personally." I said, "I knew that you were just, giving me flack, but I thought that was so cool that, yeah, it's like it's not only the world's finest book, which I thought was cool, but it was also the fact that, yeah, right in here, try to be careful, you got Dave Gibbons' autograph. But I thought that this was kind of not only a cool book for him to sign, but I also thought that it'd be kind of cool for me, being a world's finest fan, to actually have a Superman and Batman book that actually got signed. And I do have to talk about this book because I felt like this was a travesty that it did not do as well as people thought, but this, I think, is definitely one of my more favorite deals to actually read from Gail Simone, which is Leaving Metropolis, or Megaopolis. Yeah, I forget. Yeah, it's like tongue-tied. You know what, The Simpsons? Sorry, I'm laughing. But yeah, it's like I loved this story, and I felt so bad that there's not going to be a sequel because it didn't sell all that well. And funny thing is, I had to actually. The really humorous and funny thing about it was the fact that I actually had to buy this separately from a lot of the other like books that were at Gail's table, so I had to buy this separately. But still got her signature, which I thought was so cool. And what's funny is that I bought this, and I'll show it here in a second. I actually got Legends of Red Sonja, and I got Red Sonja Volume 1, which I was happy about. But what made me laugh about this was the fact that Gail just looked at me. She goes, "Oh my God, thank you," because Like I got like 2 Red Sonja books, and I got like Leaving Metropolis. And I told her, I said, I feel bad. I keep wanting to call it Metropolis. I meant to say Megaopolis. I'll just call it Leaving for short. It's like, yeah, it's like I told Gail, I said, I feel bad. I said, because I heard about this book and then I couldn't like find it anywhere, and I didn't even get to support the Kickstarter for it. I said, but I'm kind of happy that you have it here at the table so I can actually like, buy it and read it. And I admitted to her that, I didn't get to actually. I admitted to her on the Friday night reception, which I shouldn't have. I felt like I insulted her. But I told her, I said, yeah, I said I had this. That was one of the books that I had to kind of send home with my mother because my mother wasn't feeling that well that Friday, guys. She was almost like having a heat stroke or like a hot flash or something, and and I was very very concerned for my mother's well-being. But yeah, I came home and I immediately read this because I told Gail, I said, as a fan, I said, as a new fan of yours, I said, I will promise that I will come home and read this, and I did, and I put on my Twitter feed, um, holy crap, holy expletive, and I put, translation, it's like badass book, because if you guys haven't found this yet, find this book and buy it, because this is a great, what if superheroes went insane and became homicidal? I literally I equivalate this to the superpowered version of Walking Dead. It's more about like survivors and their struggle to stay alive within the city. But I loved that. That as an introduction kind of to Gail Simone's like her writing and everything like that. I thought that was a cool introductory to kind of start with. Some for more independent work. And I mentioned Legends of Red Sonja. Ironically, here it is. And I may bring this back because, especially if Kelly Sue DeConnick and them show up, or any of the other female writers on here, I definitely want to get their autograph too. I also love the fact that Gail did it in red ink. I thought that was so cool. But yeah, guys, I'm definitely. I actually read through. I have not read through this. I know, as a Red Sonja fan, I feel a little bit ashamed, but I will read through this. Well, not this copy because it's signed. I actually had a spare copy that was put in the grab bag at the Harveys. I found out that apparently the grab bag at the Harveys, they just stuffed a whole bunch of books in there, which was funny to me. It truly was. A lot of them were the same books, but I was happy to get this Red Sonja. Of course, Red Sonja Volume 1. I love this cover. I love this cover. It's like it's just so nonchalant. Like good. Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Of course, Gail Simone. Once again, red ink. I love that. I love that she signed it in red ink. I'm a big Red Sonja fan, so when I heard that Gail was taking over Red Sonja for Dynamite, I was eagerly chomping at the bit. Because I'd heard nothing but good things about Gail, so my first experience actually meeting her, and I get to buy Red Sonja from her. It's like, to me, that was kind of like a dream come true deal. And I'm a little leery about showing this next one, because this is very rated R. Very rated R-esque. And it's from Avatar Press. It's from Avatar Press, guys, and it's really great. Very. Actually, hold on a second. I don't mind the bikini bottom, but let me just try to. Let me try to form a line here. Try to not cover the book up here. I need to cover the top. I'm sorry if it looks a little weird, but I have to cover the top part of this, guys, because the female character on this cover is nude, or at least like it's implied topless. So I'm sure you're like, it's like, really, Steve? It's like, yeah, just for the sake of YouTube for the sake of YouTube copyright laws, because they don't like nudes. I can't show you the inside of the book, and I can't, of course, show this cup without this red paper on it. But from Mike Mike Wolfer, he did a series on Kickstarter and stuff. It's called Ragdoll. And the concept, guys, is I love his concept because this is what sold me on the book. Take the Hammer horror films, every classic black and white monster movie that you grew up with, like the old Universal monster movies. Sorry, had a fly crawl on me there. Mix it with like 80s heavy metal and a lot of other contemporary themes and what have you, and just really go with it, guys. Just to warn you guys, when you buy this book, the characters are nude and oftentimes full body nude. I'm not even joking about that. You can look at the prints and stuff. You had to actually put post-it notes over the nude prints that were laying out in the open. But the character of Ragdoll I liked, and he's actually going to make this into a horror anthology series, guys. Ragdoll is just the first one, but Ragdoll is this red-headed, like multi-scarred, like patchwork monster. And the interesting part is that Ragdoll is made of the patchwork of the various skins of different women who were brutally murdered. So this is a tale of vengeance, not just a horror book. And that basically Ragdoll is going around murdering each of the men who actually had brutally raped or killed or pillaged, filleted, etc. All these women that she's made up of. So it's like a memory bleed effect where she's going to go and get revenge on the guys who basically murdered each piece of her. And what's really interesting as well is the fact that Mike Wolfer actually introduces a lot of other characters, such as the vampiress, the siren. He's thinking about doing a female mummy, a female werewolf. He currently also secondarily introduced a succubus. So he's doing an entire, like, I guess you could say, female monster, sexy nude pinup kind of, vibe for all these various anthology series. And I told him, I said, dude, I think you actually now have a new fan because I actually want to follow these series. And a lot of you are like, oh, because it's full body nudes and da 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 da. And the hot-blooded male in me says yes, but the comic fan in me, the horror fan, is just like, okay, this is too good an anthology to actually pass up. So let me put this off screen and put this back in the bag. But yeah, guys, this from Avatar. It's from Avatar Press. But yeah, this series I definitely will follow as an anthology series. I thought it was cool. And I really wish I could show you guys the signature that Mike Wolfer put in there. But like I said, I can't really can't sadly show his signature in there, obviously. Because like I said, it's very derogatory, very dirty, very, Maxim or Playboy-esque. Which I feel sad for not being able to show, but like I said, YouTube has rules and I have to follow them. Now this one I have to also do some promotion for, because I met Brian J.L. Glass, Brian Glass, and this was actually what he put in there. He actually signed, the inside this and drew like a little sketch picture, and I thought that was so freaking cool. But if you guys haven't heard of this, I'd never even heard of this. It's called The Mice Templar. And I actually found out that this series has been going on for like 7 or 8 years now. Well, the eighth is going to be next year. Next year is going to be the eighth and final year that Mice Templar as a series is going to be around, because after that, Brian is concluding the series alongside Michael Oeming, who is the guy who originally came up with the concept of Mice Templar. And the funny part about this, because I'm going to tell a story about Mice Templar. Well, actually, let me hold up the book while I'm telling this, because I feel like it would add authenticity. Mice Templar, it came about when Michael Oeming was allegedly a kid. He had misheard somebody say Knights Templar, and he thought that they said Mice Templar, and he thought that it sounded cool. And the alleged story that Brian Glass tells is that allegedly, according to Michael, it's not been confirmed or not, that when an adult corrected him, Michael said, "Oh, well, it would be better with mice anyway." And it actually, according to the final volume that they're actually doing, or like the special hardcover edition for the final volume of Mice Templar, they're going to include the original like 6-issue or 6-page deal that Michael Oeming originally did. That was the basis for this series, and also Brian Glass is thinking about taking the very first issue or some of the cliff notes from the first issue of Mice Templar and putting them in there as well. Just like bonuses for fans of the series and a bonus for collectors, which I think is really a really cool and ingenious idea. But this series follows the main character in the center there. This talks about the Mice Templar Order and how this series is like the hero's journey, but it's not where it's unscathed. The main character right here, Calric or Caddick, I think it's pronounced Caddick, is actually, he pretty much became a member of the Templar Order. His dad had died for reasons that they hadn't explained yet, so it was just him and his mother. His mother got killed, and Caddick goes on this journey, and we find out that the Templar Order has been separated. They had a civil war or something led to them being, on separate sides. And so the closing of the book is the Templar Order is going to be brought back together. It's going to be revived, and they're going to have one big giant battle or epic battle that's going to conclude the entire series, according to Brian Glass. But yeah, it talks about it, and it takes years afterwards, and the whole world and mythology is built around this series. And what really makes it cool to me is that he's, rather than just establishing, well, this happened and this happened, no, you follow Caddick, but you're also following into the past of the Templar Order in this series. And you're finding out, okay, what led to the Civil War, what led to them being on opposing sides, and so on and so forth. And I only read a little bit of this. I hope to read more of it, at some point. Ooh, excuse me for getting into it at some point, because I got to be honest with you guys. This seems like a really cool series, and I've heard a lot of people say that Brian Glass, he's really good at writing fantasy. I mean, this guy wrote his very first work with Marvel. He wrote a single-issue story, a one-shot with Valkyrie, Brunhilde. And if somebody can do that, and he also did a Superman story, and he did something based in the Marvel Cinematic Thor universe. If he can do that, he can do just as well. And I have another one of Mr. Glass's stories as well, which I'll get into. But I promote this series not just because it's freaking cool and the concept behind it's very interesting, but also it's pretty much, if you want an alternate to George R. R. Martin's Game of Thrones without all the sex and the nudity, but you want all the gorging and gratuitous violence and stuff, then pick this series up, guys. It's fun. it's fun for the whole family. The kids will be having nightmares for weeks. It'll be great, especially in the later issues when Caddick is riding a zombified, repossessed, like zombie cat into battle. That it's good. But another one that I have to promote, and it's Brian Glass's project that he's had for a while, which is Furious. Now, this is a series that I actually heard about, and I read the issue and I was like, okay, this seems kind of interesting. But to read the full volume did not do justice to how awesome this series is actually. And of course, he signed it. Yeah, and interior shot there. Yeah. The story behind this is that Brian Glass wanted to do a superhero redemption story, but do it a lot differently. The main character in Furious is a former child star who became one of those trash, tabloid celebrities that we're used to seeing. People like Lindsay Lohan and Britney Spears back when she went a little bit cray-cray. Whitney Houston and whatnot, and he was telling the story that it was the death of Whitney Houston that really made him want to push this series to get out. And when she got superpowers, she decides to use it to try to help people and help save them. And so she puts on a disguise because she thinks that people will be more envious and actually hate her because she's, a trash tabloid celebrity and she's one of the most hated, former child stars on the planet. So redemption is within her reach, but not quite. And I really want to follow this series and I really think I'm going to continue to follow this series because after reading this volume, I'm like, this is a series that I think that I could actually get into, and I think you guys would enjoy it as well. Even if you just check out a single issue, it's just give it a chance. I think you'll like, the interesting way that Mr. Glass, does the superhero redemption theme, but does it with the trash tabloid celebrity spin. And this was $5. This is from Boom Studios, but this was done by Mr. Eric Powell. But it is the first volume of Big Trouble in Little China. And this was fun for Eric Powell, he said, because when I was talking with him, he actually admitted, guys, that he was excited to actually continue where the movie left off, because this, guys, takes place directly after the movie ends. The final frame of Big Trouble in Little China, this is where the comic series is going to pick up afterwards. I have not read this yet. I told Eric Powell, I said, I'll go ahead and bite the bullet, and I said, I'll read it. I said, being a big Goon fan, I said, I trust that, the artwork is going to be grotesque and hilarious. And so I'm looking forward, guys, to actually reading this and then going and maybe seeing if the trade will come out and stuff. And excuse me. Yeah, going into the trade and possibly seeing where things go from there. But that'll be fun, guys. I promise you it will be. And then we get to the Goon. I mentioned the Goon. Which is part 1 of 4, which is the Occasion of Revenge. Which I thought it was actually... I'm excited, guys. I'm very excited to see the Goon come back. And what this latest volume holds. And Eric Powell told me a little bit, guys, but not giving away too much. He couldn't give away too much. But all I can tell you guys is it's gonna be a doozy. That's all I can spoil for you guys. It's gonna be quite a doozy when he gets into the next, Goon storylines. And Eric did admit that a lot of it will be one-shots and specials and stuff like that, and got one right here, which is called One for the Road. That I'm looking forward to actually reading, that as well. Anything with the Goon, I look forward to reading. Who am I kidding? There's that. And I felt so cool to actually meet, Trad Moore, the guy who does the art for all new Ghost Rider. The only regret that I do have now that I think about it is I should have bought more, all new Ghost Rider issues, and if he's actually there next year and they have a lot of the other single issues for the first volume, I'm buying them and getting him to sign these. And I was also happy that I actually gave this series a chance. I told him, I said, dude, whoa, Character Comics flopping on me. I looked at him and I said, dude, I'm so excited that you're doing the art for this. I said, it truly is such a freaking cool take on the Ghost Rider mythology. Sorry, I'm looking at how can you not look at Ghost Rider here or this Rider and just say he doesn't look like he came from Attack on Titan? Ever since I've looked at Attack on Titan, I just can't help but think about that. But it's I looked at him and I said, "Dude, you're drawing a muscle car." He goes, "No, I'm drawing a souped-up muscle car," which I can't argue that point. It's freaking amazing. So I was happy to meet Trad Moore and happy to meet him before he left and whatnot and be able to actually get that signed. Another #1 that I actually got signed. And he actually signed it in green ink, which I thought was so freaking funny. And it says "Stay Green." I got to pick up the first issue of Charles Soule's She-Hulk. It's I told Charles Soule straight to his face when I met him, and I wish I could have got a picture, but sadly I didn't get to ask for a picture with him because he was trying to push people along, because he had quite a line forming, which I didn't take personally. There's always next year if he shows up. But I was so happy to get this. I told him, I said, dude, this is the She-Hulk I've been wanting to actually read. And I found an interesting fact about Charles Soule, guys. He actually is a certified lawyer. He actually has a law firm, believe it or not. So for those of you who don't know, yeah, Charles Soule is not only doing 6 books between Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, and what have you, etc., but he actually has a law degree and a law firm that's still actually going. So that guy should be enough. That should be enough incentive for you guys to check out his She-Hulk series. That right there, I told him, I said, dude, right there, I said, that makes me actually want to check this series out and actually read more of it. I said, because if you have a law degree and you run a law firm, I said, this makes you perfect to write Jen. Yeah, so I was so freaking ecstatic for that, and I decided, why the hell not? I also got Inhuman #1 for him to sign. And I'll admit, it's not bad. I will admit, I looked at Inhuman and I was like, okay, I'm not even sure I want to check this out, and I'm a little bit of an Inhumans fan. But honestly, I was glad that I checked it out. I was glad that I read through it. And they actually had a rack with single-issue comics and a few graphic novels for people that wanted to get stuff signed there at the convention. So I looked at this and I told them flat out, I said, you know what, man? I said, I'm glad that I checked out Inhuman. I said, because it's a cool series, guys. I actually did like, reading Inhuman. because I'm like, okay, this is a fun kind of series focusing on a guy who started out normal and then he actually became a member of the Inhumans. He was affected by the Terrigen Mists. So that in itself to me was kind of cool. I liked that. I dug that very much. So that's another series that I might get a volume and whatnot for. And I'm looking here. And of course, Eric Powell drew in like shiny marker. You probably can't see it on the screen. There we go. Yeah, shiny marker. He got to draw on that. So it's like, yeah, I got my Escape from Bizarro World, signed. I thought that to me was cool, because that's like the one Eric Powell book that I actually brought for him to get signed that wasn't. Oh crap! I did not want that to fall. Oh god. Okay. I got scared there for a second, guys, because I actually have my World Without Superman drop. Okay. Well, that kind of sucks. It got a little bit bent right there at the cover. Yeah, I'm trying guys to actually like follow. I'm gonna make sure that this is okay. Okay, it is. It's cool. All right, we're cool. We're fine. False alarm. Yeah, I got Escape from Bizarro World signed, and I talk about World Without, and I joked with Louise Simonson because I actually sent these back, and I didn't get to have her like sign anything, which made me feel really bad because I wanted to get her to sign it. But I got Dan Jurgens, who was the very first person I met at the convention, was Dan Jurgens. So I got his signature on World Without, and I got his signature. Ironically, he placed his signature right where Clark's cape is hanging. So I actually have now. I got Dan Jurgens at least to sign 2 of the 3 books, and I told him, I said, I feel bad because I don't have Return, but I will make that vow. I will get, if Dan Jurgens actually shows up, I will have more Dan Jurgens stuff for him to sign, but I also definitely want to have, Return of Superman signed by him. So I'll have to, at some point, guys, get the Return of Superman trade, and hopefully that'll be a trifecta for Louise Simonson. So Weezy Simonson can be able to sign, my Death of Superman stuff. And I actually found out that she did a couple of other deals which I would love to get signed and tell her the meaning behind, a child graphic novel. So yeah, guys, I got basically the first 2 out of like 3 story deals for, the Death of Superman story arc signed by Dan Jurgens. I'm like, that to me, you can't ask for a better and more humbling ending, shall we say. Now let me move these. I also had Dan Jurgens actually sign the cover of my Metamorpho Year 1. Whoop, I'm trying to get it in there. There we go. Yeah, I thought that was so cool. I managed to get him to sign, Metamorpho Year 1. I actually got, where is it? Oh, I actually had Collie, Sully, I think I'll say Sully, but I got Mr. Hamner to actually, got him on the side, if you can see there, I got my Black Lightning Year 1 actually signed, which I was so happy to actually get because it's one of my favorite Year 1 story arcs. So, and this I have to laugh at because I was talking with Bill Willingham and I told him, I said, I'd love to try to find more of like your JSA run. Come to find out, guys, these two books right here, which is Bad Seed and Axis of Evil, this is his complete JSA run, guys. These are the only two trades that actually are of his entire, like, he only did like 12 issues. So I thought that was actually kind of cool. So I basically, guys, have like Bill Willingham's entire basically his run on JSA, which that to me that makes this a keeper even more. I mean, oh my god, that definitely makes it a keeper. And I realize some of you are like, okay, Steve, it's like it's like, are you wrapping down? I realize, guys, that I'm taking a lot longer than I should with a lot of these, stories and stuff, but bear with me. I feel like I've been talking at this for like 3 hours, but it's probably been like less than 2, if not even that. And I finally, guys, got a Fable book, and how cool, it's based around Camelot. And this is actually, I bought this at Mark Buckingham's table. And the funny part is that Mark was trying to get all his art pieces like priced and stuff, and I was just sitting there patiently waiting, as were a lot of people. A lot of people were like, they were kind of like starting to get agitated, whereas I'm just sitting there, I'm smiling. I'm meeting the artist behind the Fables series. It's like I can't get mad. It's like that to me just was so cool. And of course, I got Bill Willingham's autograph, which you can barely see. It's like trying to get into the light here. Trying to get into the light here. All you can make out is Mark Buckingham's, but his signature is actually like right here where my thumb is at. Right here where my thumb is at is Bill Willingham's autograph, which he did in black ink, which I wish he could have like done a white marker so you could actually see it a little bit clearer. But yeah, you got like a silver neon deal for Mark Buckingham, and yeah, that was cool to meet Mark Buckingham. So that to me was definitely a good one. So yeah, Bill Willingham and Mark Buckingham. And Barry Kitson was actually here. I may have to actually bring this because Barry Kitson was there, and hopefully if he's there next year, I'm definitely getting him to actually sign this Fables book too. Because I wanted a Fables book, because I wanted, when I met Mark Buckingham and Bill Willingham, that I would be able to actually like get a Fables series. So, and I was happy to get one, not just get one, but get like one that was based around Camelot. It's like that to me was cool. Like that to me was very cool. And they were doing a radio interview or so with Walt and Louise Simonson at their table on Sunday. And I could not find previous volumes. All I found was volumes 2 and 4 of Walt's run on Thor. And Walt just basically pulled us all close like a football coach was, is talking to his players. And he goes, "Okay, here's the deal, guys." He goes, Wheezy is still doing an interview. He goes, "So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign your books, get, everybody in line, like, going further." He goes, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to do the head sketches." He goes, "So I'm just going to sign your books, guys, and I'm going to send you guys along." He goes, "Sorry if I held up the line and stuff, but he goes, but I'll get you guys moving." He goes, "So let me sign the book." So he was silently like signing people's books, and I was the first one that he actually was talking to. And I just told him, I said, I just quietly said, like, "Thanks, Walt," and he just like gave me a thumbs up. So yeah, guys, the legendary Walt Simonson. I actually got 2 of his, pieces of Thor run. I got to try to find the rest and see if I can get him to actually sign them You know, I would need to see if I can find like volumes 1, 3, and 5, and then I'll have the complete Walt Simonson like Thor run. Like, I'm not even worried about the fact that I got my Thors signed, guys. It's just the fact of actually meeting Walt Simonson that was enough for me. It's like, how can it's like you get to meet a legend. Um, I'm trying to think of how to do this. I guess just doing out. Holy crap! I almost dented that. Maybe I should move these off of here because that did not look well. Dave Foley with showing Red Anvil Comics. There's a Dave Ryan. Let me actually. Dave Ryan. There we go. Yeah, sorry if I kept calling him Foley. But yeah, Dave Ryan had a series that he was doing the graphics for. It's called Owlgirls. This is a series that takes place in the 30s, and I believe, Dave said it takes place in the 40s. It's about three sisters. One of them dies, and two of them make a deal with a witch, basically to resurrect her, or so on and so forth. And as a deal, as you can obviously tell, they're made into owls. Really weird. Really weird concept, but at the same time, it seemed kind of cool to me, so I went with it. Now, this one, I told him, this just seemed so freaking cool and out of whack. But it's called Battle of the Independents. Imagine all the indie comics, underground comics, sub-parlay characters from the 90s, etc. Imagine if all of them had a big-ass frickin' crossover. This is what this title is. The Tick, Bone, Grenard, I probably just mispronounced that, Gumby and Pokey, The Tick, Mr. Immortal or Mr. Marvel, whatever you want to call him, Coffee Man. It's like, imagine all these independent characters. Now imagine if they all actually, Ant. Imagine all these characters. All these creator-owned characters and whatnot crossing over with each other. And then just imagine your head exploding. And I mentioned Shadow Tracers. Because I got the $25 sketch from them, I got Shadow Tracers, the first two issues, signed of course. Whoa. Of course they're both signed. Try to get this second one into the light here so you can see. Yeah, and I love the concept. It's like, be honest, you look at this cover, does this not give you a New Warriors vibe? And it gives the New Warriors vibe, and the concept is, how do you actually try to be a superhero before you can even drive? And I thought that it was so freaking cool. It's like, I'm gonna have to definitely read these, so I'm excited, guys. I'm excited to actually dig into that now. Issues 1 and 2 are from Fallen Avenger. And it doesn't seem. Yeah, it doesn't actually seem like it tells you who the artist is, sadly. Once I find that out, I should be able to like talk about it in another video. But I got 2 issues of Fallen Avenger, which is the spin-off series from the actual novel, which I have here with me. The actual trade volume. And jokingly, personalized by name. It says "To Victory" on there. Oh, yeah, it says "To Victory" if you can't read the signature, which I thought was cool. I can't pronounce the writer's full name, but I did actually manage to meet and get my picture with him, so that'll be cool. I'll actually be able to finally share that picture on Facebook because I didn't want to just like name like artists and whatnot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to seem like a jerk. You know, first time in a comic experience. I promise, guys, I'm winding down. I'm going to wind down this issue, and then I'm going to move to the third, which is going to be me telling stories and talking about how this is a personal Cinderella story. Because I took a lot longer than I really wanted to with this second part. And already it's almost 10. Actually, it just directly turned 10. So I am going to actually flip these over, and I'm going to start going backwards through these. I got to meet, guys, the legendary George Perez, which that was fun. I got a couple of stories with George to share. And I got Mr. Perez's signature. And what makes this very special to me, guys, is this is my original print from when I was 5 or 6 of Crisis on Infinite Earths. Yeah, it survived this long. So, and George looked at me actually when I said, yeah, I said, this is the first comic book storyline that I read when I was like 5 or 6. And he goes, oh my God, that must have been so confusing. I said, I was a kid, George. I didn't care. I didn't care, and I truly didn't. I still don't. It's still one of my favorite storylines in comics. Got him to sign the Korvac saga. I was so happy that I was able to actually get this book in the mail, or at least like find this and pay for it. It's like I was excited because I wanted to get Korvac saga, and now I actually had George Perez's signature to that series. I did not get to find Tom Brovart because I wanted my Fantastic Force comic signed by him, and I didn't. I felt very bad. But I did get George Perez to sign, for doing the pencilings for Future Imperfect. And I found out that he didn't actually have a run with Peter David, which he adamantly corrected me on, which sometimes as the comic fan you geek out so hard that you need to be corrected. I also met Garth Ennis, and I'm not going to show the front cover, but I will try to show this off, but trying without the kludge. It's like, yeah, I got Garth Ennis to actually personalize my pro book. Yeah, I actually got the pro signed by Garth Ennis, and he actually put cheers. I think for Garth Ennis it was great because everybody kept coming and getting him to sign Punisher stuff. Like, there were people like bringing all their runs of Garth's version of the Punisher and his Road to Damnation, like Ghost Rider that he did. And I think it genuinely made him feel good. And I think it genuinely made him feel good that somebody brought another piece of his work, which was me bringing the pro. But at the same time, I got lucky, guys, because I was one of like 5 people that were chosen because Garth had to do a panel and they were rushing people, and originally I had like cut off, but then they opened it but then the staff member was like, well, wait, and Garth said, it's like, open it up to 5 more people, and I was one of the 5 that was lucky to get chosen. I was like the second of like 5 people, or like 3 people or something. And that shocked me. I was grateful for that, and I got a picture with Garth, and Garth was just like signing along. He was like really, hauling ass trying to sign, so that way so that way he could get to his panel. And I tried not to bother him. I gave, a lot of people were bringing Punisher stuff, so I think it made Garth kind of feel good that some people were bringing the boys. Somebody brought the boys, which made him feel happy. But I think what really kind of like took him, he tried not to show it, but he was taken a little bit aback by the fact that I brought the Pro to him. Like that was the least book that he expected somebody to actually bring him. So I did get my Punisher Army of One, signed by Garth, but he went the extra mile with the Pro because I think that really kind of just like stunned him, and it also I think kind of touched him that somebody actually, went and bought the Pro and actually liked and read it. Now this I have to talk about. Dynamite Boom crossover between the Shadow and Green Hornet. Called Dark Knights, and I loved this, guys. This was great. This was a great crossover. I actually have like 4 copies of this. This and like 2 or 3 other versions that are undamaged, and then one I have in a box that like the front cover's all bent to hell, which I feel really sad about, but it's a reading copy. But I got to meet, I'm probably gonna butcher his last name, but Michael Uslan. Michael Uslan, who you guys actually know is the producer of the Michael Keaton, Batman movies. Or even I think like he did the Schumacher movies as well, if I remember. But when I was talking with him, it was so cool because I went to just like check to see if like when Garth's booth and stuff was, nobody was there talking to him. And I immediately just went up, had no books or anything in my hand. I walked away with this, guys, and I felt so happy. I mean, what's cool is that he signed it, and when he signed it, guys, this is what's cool. He signed it in the bat symbol. Not only signed it in the bat symbol, and I made the comment. I said, "Oh, I joked with him. I joked with him about it. I said, I said, dude, that's so freaking cool that you're actually like signing that in the bat symbol." And he goes, "Well, let me tell you the story behind it." And I looked at him and I said, "Wait a minute, there's a story behind this?" And the story, guys, is that when he was doing the first Michael Keaton Batman movie, they had the edible programs. And people wanted his name. So said he was signing his name, and Bob Kane reached over and smacked the pen out of his hand. And Michael looked at Bob, and he went, what are you doing, Bob? He goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "You can't just put your name on there." He goes, "People, are paying to actually see you and da-da-da-da." He goes, "No, you got to sign this with flair, with flash." And he's like, you got to draw it in a bat. And he goes, "But Bob, I don't know how to draw a bat. I don't know how to draw the bat symbol." He said right then and there, guys, that Bob Kane showed him how to draw the bat symbol. And ever since, no matter what piece of memorabilia he signs or autographs, he always draws the bat symbol first and then his signature inside the bat symbol. Which I think is such a cool little touch, when actually like signing stuff. But I have all 3 trades inside this one little dill, but I'm just gonna show this. I'm just gonna show this side. And it was from Larry'sComics.net. It was a special liquidation sale, so it was only $10 that they were getting rid of this. And I tried to find this series, which is Dr. Midnight. Now, it's not the original Dr. Midnight, guys. This isn't. Now, this isn't the Dr. Midnight that you guys know from. Now, guys, this isn't the Dr. Midnight from the original JSA. No, this is actually the debut, the actual comics debut of the second iteration of Dr. Midnight. So this is the Swiss Dr. Midnight, for those of you who follow JSA and stuff. So this is Dr. Midnight number 2. But I told John K. Snyder, the third, who was actually there, he was right next to Matt Wagner. So boom, I got like, double signature. I got like his signature, and then I got Matt Wagner's at the bottom on not just one, but all 3 novels. I got their signatures, all 3 trades. And I told him, I said, I don't care if it's the second one or the first one. I said, it's just really cool to me that, got a solo series for Dr. Midnight. If you hear like popping, that's me just taking the tape off the liquidation seal. Hopefully I did not just... Okay, good. I didn't want to damage that. But... Oh, there was a $5 liquidation sale tag on that. Never mind then. Sorry guys, I've had to reseal the liquidation seal on there, on the protective tag. I just wanted to see what that read with $5. But yeah, I got to talk with him, and I got to talk with John K. Snyder III. And for those of you who actually saw Young Justice, apparently the doctor that fixed Wally West's leg or had him in the hospital, that was actually the second Dr. Midnight in civilian form, which I really enjoyed, guys. I loved that. I thought that was a great touch to add Dr. Midnight. And we were actually talking about Young Justice for a bit, and I think Matt Wagner was getting annoyed because I was like fanboying out and talking with John K. Snyder III, and I'm like, I had fun. Then I get to Matt Wagner, he's just like, he's all disgruntled and like passing me along. He's in a foul mood, but I was so happy to find these 3 trades, guys, because this is a very hard trade series to find. So I was happy to find all 3. So I now have Dr. Midnight, and with that, guys, I'm going to start putting these actually back in here, because I just actually saw that I reached the end here for my signed book collection. So with that, guys, I will pretty much flip these back over here. And I know you guys are getting bored of listening to me talk, but I figured that I would actually show you my signed book collection from the convention, because why the hell not? And so with that, guys, close the lid on this, and I'm going to move this and my art book back, and I've got just about everything packed up. And so, guys, I'm now going to end this broadcast, and I'm going to start a third one. So if you're still up and you're still willing to listen to me jammer on and put you guys to sleep and stuff, I have just one more video, one more broadcast to actually do this in. And then after that, I will be done for the night. I might even actually go to bed if I don't exhaust myself too much. And the last video, guys, will be me telling stories from the convention, talking about my experience, and talking about why it's a Cinderella story. So get ready to get a box of tissues. So first video, boom, show you the books that I bought at the convention. Boom, show you my art. And then now this entire second video is me showing the signed books and talking about a couple of stories. And then I get to talk about, a lot of other stories, including talking about Harvey's and talking about the All-Star reception and all that kind of stuff. But in terms of book signings and stuff like that, it's like, yeah, it's like Eric Powell will be working on, Big Trouble in Little China, continuing where the movie left off. He's talking about the Goon. He's telling people it's like, be warned. One thing I can partly spoil is that the mood will change, the tempo for the Goon will change. And a little bit of progress is being made for those of you who are Kickstarter fans. The progress for the Goon film is, getting on up there. So they're getting closer to getting it, published by a company who's willing to take it seriously. Just Fables might be ending because they said the last Fables panel. So the Fables series might be ending. Mice Templar will be ending. Furious will be getting its second volume and what have you. And let's see. They were. What else was there? Conventional wise. Trying to think off the top of my head here, guys. Oh yeah, George Perez has his new series, Sirens, which I felt bad that I did not buy an issue for, but I will actually buy that just to get George to sign it, because I am all about, buying creator-owned and supported comics and whatnot. The only person I did not get to sign anything from me was Denny O'Neil, and that was because his wife actually got not fatally, but got really ill. And so, like, they had to go home early. Like, they didn't even, like, he had to basically cancel his convention deal, as did Keith Giffen, which I felt bad about, but, family comes first, as does personal health. So it doesn't really, I didn't really take it that personally. But, yeah, a lot of stuff happened on the floor. I'll talk about those in a little while. So with that, especially for I've noticed the two viewers, it's like stay tuned and follow when part 3 drops, because I'm going to be dropping a third and final part, and I'm going to be talking about just going to be me talking, and it's not going to be as long. I promise it won't be as long, and it won't be as boring. You'll get to hear a lot of cool, funny stories from creators. So with that, guys, I'm going to end this, and I will see you guys at part 3, the final part.